Hello, my name is John Nellis and welcome to Fantasy Football Hub. I'm taking over the channel this season and today I'm going to talk you through my first draft. Buzzing to get stuck in this season. Admittedly, I'm not an FPL expert. I haven't got the best rank history ever to show you, but I'm passionate, I love football, and I've followed fantasy football for years. But this season I'm going to get better along with you using Hub's tools. If you want 50% off Hub for the year, sign up using the link in the description. It's a limited time offer, 50% off. Use the link, I get paid, I'm an affiliate, I love you. And let's get stuck in and have a look at my team. First up, in goal, we have Mendy. And I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. Last season, he didn't score as well as maybe some of the other premiums, hence the 5 million price tag. But I think getting a really premium goalkeeper at a top 4 team for 5 million with good fixtures, it's an absolute lock. You have to go for it. So for me, Mendy is pretty locked. The only reason I could see myself downgrading to a 4.5 goalkeeper is maybe to upgrade one of my future players, because $500,000 is a lot as it turns out this season. The most locked player on my team is up next, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I am a bit of a fanboy, I'll give you that, so maybe this is a bit of a biased pick, but thankfully his stats back it up. Best scoring defender of the game last season. He scored incredibly consistently for a long time now. Next season's going to be no different. 7.5 million for the third best scorer in the game behind only Son and Salah last season. For me, it's a no-brainer. Fulham first fixture. No point in wasting any more time. Trent will be in my first week team barring injury 100%, and he's the only player that's 100%. My second defender is Cancelo. Now, I've referred to Cancelo in the past as the poor man's Trent, and that's because, you know, he pretty much does the same sort of stuff, puts up very similar numbers, but he's just slightly worse. You know, his team kept a lot of clean sheets, matched with Liverpool last season, and he scored 201 points, just 7 less than Trent. I think for me, Cancelo at 7 million, another example of ridiculous value versus the premiums further up the pitch. He is almost as locked as Trent. I'd say he's 95% locked in for game week 1. Reece James is next, and I think every day I'm changing my mind between James, Chilwell, or both. I think I've talked already about Chilwell and how I felt, you know, he has a bit more goal threat. His points per minute whenever he actually did play last season actually beat James and every defender for that reason. So were his goals per minute. I mean, he was scoring for fun when he actually did play. My worry is the injury history there. I think James is a bit more of a secure option who still is explosive, who still has high upside. So I don't think this is going to be James or Chilwell this slot. But right now we've got James in there and I'm happy with him. He could still be there come the start of the season. I would bet that he will be. On to the fourth defender, and we're still big at the back. I will be playing a 5-3-2, and surprise, surprise, Perisic is in. I would like this one to be Chilwell, and this is potentially somewhere where I could downgrade Mendy, as previously mentioned, and upgrade Perisic. I just need to watch pre-seasons and see how the guys are doing. But I think Perisic is a really good call. 5.5 million, saving the 0.5 on the likes of a Chilwell. I think Perisic, coming from Inter Milan, you know, he did have a really high XG and he scored a lot of goals whenever he played under Conte in Serie A. I think Perisic is an absolutely great shout, and he is in here. Up next, we have Robertson. Robertson and Trent is the double up in defence that I've always wanted but never really had the balls for on FPL. I think it seems a bit overkill, but you know, with Mane gone and a bit of disarray around who will be nailed along with Salah up top, the midfield's always been a bit of a minefield for Liverpool, and now I think up top with Darwin, Jota, Luis Diaz, I think Diaz could be pretty nailed, and then Jota and Darwin might share the striker position, but I don't know. I just think Salah's the only guy out further up the pitch that I definitely want. So I think I want triple Liverpool, so we're going to have to go for Robbo and Trent. Robertson's so explosive on his day, and you know, having cover of Robertson and Trent, it's just so exciting. It actually makes the watching football experience great, and I do think it is pretty optimal for FPL at the start of this season too, at least not far off whatever the template will be. So I'm happy to take that. Robertson there to complete the back line. I will be playing 5 at the back, barring any major changes, but this is the back line of my first draft. Next up, we have my captain, Mo Salah, first picked midfielder. Absolutely no doubt here he'll be here unless he is injured. But Mo Salah, 13 million, hefty price tag. I've been burnt before not going with him in game week 1. I have been burnt before. They have Fulham. It is no brainer. Do not overthink it. Mo Salah captain against Fulham. That is the move first game week. Get him in there. Get him up in round you. And let's see Mo Salah go and score a hat-trick and get off to a great start. All these creative guys who are trying to go against the grain and go for no Salah and they're picking their sons, I wish you the best of luck. And I think actually you could do pretty well. But I think if you're going without Salah, you're trying to be contrarian for the sake of it. I'd love to hear some arguments about why you would go without him. I know 13 million's a lot, and that will be the number one argument. But for me, Mo Salah, absolutely locked. Martinelli is next. I'll be honest, I really wanted Odegaard here. I think Odegaard's going to do really well next season. But when I actually went and crunched the numbers and looked at Odegaard being 0.5 million dearer, it made sense to go to Martinelli because their output was very similar towards the end of the season. And Martinelli's underlying numbers were actually better. His XG and XA were better, and he got an extra bonus point, I think, over Odegaard over the final 8 or 9 games of the season. So when I went and looked at those things, I opted for Martinelli. I think he's good value in the middle of the park there. And you know, he should have nailed down that role in the Arsenal squad. So Martinelli in, some beautiful fixtures for Arsenal. And yeah, Martinelli is in the middle. But he is one in this draft that might be out the window before the start of the actual game, because I'm not wholly convinced on him, but I don't know if there's much better value at that 6 million price point. Speaking of better value at the 6 million price point, Bruno Guimaraes is up next. I am a big fanboy of him as well. Bruno, you know, when he came into Newcastle last season, he was revolutionary. I watched him a lot at Lyon, and he's an incredible player. He doesn't really lose the ball or make bad decisions. I didn't think he would be so attacking. That was the big surprise for me. At Lyon, he was a bit more defensive, played in the middle of the park with Max Kakare, and he was a bit more of a defensive player. Got forward, did get in and among the goals, and did get assists, but he wasn't what he is at Newcastle. He's like supercharged. He is the most shots of any Newcastle player since he arrived last season, the most goals, probably the most expected assists, the most points, everything. I think for 6 million, Bruno could go toe-to-toe with the 8 million midfielders. Not a problem. I really think he's good value, and Nottingham Forest first game, no-brainer. For me, Bruno is as good as locked. He's in the 90%. He'll be here first game week. 100%. Not 100%, 95%. Moving up to the forward line, and the first forward I'm going to talk about is Gabriel Jesus. And I have to say, I thought when I put him in, I was being a bit clever. I thought, you know what, this is contrarian. This is a bit different. Oh, this is a differential. Everyone's got him. Over 40% ownership so far in the game. Couldn't believe it. Jesus, like for me, at 8 million, it's a real decision, because when you've got such a premium back line and there's a few nice options for midfield, and then everyone's going to go for a premium forward, be it Kane or Haaland, I think like finding 8 million for another forward, I thought I was being a little bit different. Turns out I'm not. Everyone wants to do it. And I see why. Jesus was brilliant at Man City when he did play. He was terrible at other times, to be quite honest, but I think he will suit Arsenal's gameplay. I think he will fit into that team really well, and I don't think there's anyone else really competing with him. I think he'll be a 90-minute man most weeks. So yeah, Gabriel Jesus, amazing fixtures for Arsenal, coming into the team, full pre-season. Well, I just think he's going to do really well. So yeah, there's not much more to that decision than that, but I would say I am open to shipping Jesus out. Should there be a good transfer into the league before the game week 1 deadline, pre-season doesn't go to plan, injuries, Jesus I'm happy to cut, but for now he is there. Now I thought I was being contrarian with my Jesus pick, but this time I actually am being a little bit against the grain. Everyone has Haaland. Everyone. And I've gone for Harry Kane. The last starting player for me is probably actually the most controversial of them all. We have Harry Kane. I've went for Harry Kane over Erling Haaland. Haaland at the minute, I think at time of recording, has a stupidly high ownership. At time of recording, he is owned by 65% of the game. Kane's only owned by 15%, and I've opted for Kane. I'll tell you why. Alright? Now, my heart tells me Haaland. My head tells me Kane. I want the Magpie thing. I want to be part of Haaland. The machine, his goal record. I get it all. I really get it. Young, exciting, big transfer fee. Man City, they've lacked a striker for years. Jesus out the door. Haaland's going to come in there and score 1 million goals. And I do think he will. I do think he's going to. But Southampton first game week, Harry Kane, he's done it for so long. I've no cover because I don't have Son. I'm feeling if you don't have Son, it's irresponsible not to have him and Kane because they could punish you, which they have done in the past. I think have the Spurs cover. You could argue you don't have any Man City cover, but Maybe it's not quite as necessary because of the rotation among the midfielders and other forwards. That said, if 65% of people have Haaland, you kind of need him. And that's the one thing that I think could make me change my decision. If that ownership remains that high coming up to game week 1, I think it's just downright irresponsible not to have Haaland. So I would probably switch him out. But if that sort of comes down a wee bit as the more casuals enter the game and, God, I'm squirming. I'm struggling. This is my draft team, and this is meant to be me banging out to you who I'm picking, and I still don't even know who I'm bloody picking, Kane or Haaland. That's how hard a decision it is. Oh, God. Well, look, at the minute, it is Harry Kane. At the minute, it's Harry Kane, but I could be convinced of Haaland. I'd love to see your comments on that. Kane or Haaland in the comments. Let me know. Moving on to my bench, and I think I just picked any sort of 4 million goalkeeper. I went for Steele at Brighton because I'm not going to want to triple up on Brighton outfielders at any stage, so he will not be blocking me in any way, shape or form. My first substitute is Andres Pereira. He has been, he's moved to Fulham. I think he'll get game time there. I'm hoping he doesn't have to play too much. Andres Pereira there. Maybe there'll be a few more transfers throughout the rest of the summer up to game week 1. At the minute, I think he's a decent enabler. The second midfielder on my bench is Chukwuemeka, who had an outstanding under-19 Euros. He was incredible, got goals. I didn't actually check and see how many assists he got, if any. But very, very exciting player. Think he'd be rewarded with more game time. I alluded to that in the previous team reveal with Big Man Bakar, which you should check out. And Greenwood is my forward enabler. I'm hoping he doesn't have to play too much, but for 4.5 million, he is probably the most selected budget enabler forward in the game, and that's for probably fair enough reason. The first 10 fixtures look pretty good outside Chelsea and United as well, if he does get any sort of game time for Leeds. But yeah, that is my team reveal. Don't forget to sign up to Hub, 50% off. The link is in the description. Get ahead of your mini league rivals this season. Win your league. I will get paid if you use that link. It's a limited time 50% off. And check out this video where I talk to Big Man Bakar about his first draft. Now that's a true expert's draft. You should go and watch it now.